Welcome everyone for today's lecture. In this class, we are going to discuss about some of the steps involved in gravimetric analysis and what are the applications of gravimetric analysis. And we shall discuss some of the applications too in this class. Here, we have given some of the steps involved in the major steps involved in gravimetric analysis. They are: one is solution preparation, the another one is precipitation, that is formation mechanism, and it decides the crystal size, and then digestion of the precipitate and filtration, washing of the precipitate. After washing the precipitate, we should dry it, drying of the precipitate. After that, we have to calculate what we are going to estimate, if it may be the ion or the substance. So by doing the calculation, we are going to estimate the presence of ion in this. That means the presence of ion in the solution. The first one is solution preparation. It is very important because it is preliminary separation to eliminate interferences. It eliminates when we are preparing the solution. It is primarily, that is, eliminate the some interferences present in the substance. So, and then during the preparation of the solution, we should adjust the conditions, maybe the temperature, volume, and pH of and the concentration. We should adjust these when we adjust these factors, we shall achieve low solubility of the precipitate and suitable forms of the filtration. And the pH is important as it may affect solubility, possibility of interferences from the other constituents. For example, if we take calcium oxalate, in calcium oxalate is insoluble in basic media but soluble in acidic media. It is calcium oxalate is insoluble in basic media but it is soluble in acidic media. So here the equations are given. So how it is soluble in acidic media and insoluble in the basic media. And then 8-hydroxyquinoline, that is oxane, it can be made selective by pH adjustment. That is, so when we are going to estimate the aluminum ions, it can be easily precipitated at pH 4. So the aluminum or magnesium is precipitated at pH 4 like this. This is aluminum oxide. And then the concentration of anion form of oxane is too low at pH 4 to precipitate magnesium ion, so that the magnesium is not precipitated in this reaction, so that we can estimate the aluminum by precipitating aluminum as aluminum oxanate. At higher pH, is required to shift the ionization step and precipitate the magnesium, so that the magnesium is soluble here. Likewise, for a 9-hydroxyquinoline, in the greater pH, so which means the pH is higher, the magnesium ion gets precipitated. So we have to precipitate, if we want to estimate the aluminum ion as aluminum oxanate, we need to precipitate at the pH 4. If it is the higher pH, then the magnesium ion also get precipitated. Therefore, the preparation of solution to estimate the ions or the substance present in the solution gravimetrically, the preparation of solution plays a vital role. Then the precipitation. So it mainly involves the formation mechanism and the formation of the crystal size. Here the precipitate, when we are doing the precipitation, the precipitate should be sufficiently insoluble to avoid solubility loss. So it should sufficiently avoid the solubility loss and have large crystal size. Then if the precipitate is crystal size of the precipitate is larger, then it is easy to filter and it will be in the low concentration. Then in the precipitate process we are doing it requires addition of precipitating agent solution to the sample solution. So it may be the supersaturation, nucleation, or growth. The solution contains, if it is supersaturation, the solution contains more soluble substances than that exist under equilibrium condition. Supersaturation is a metastable state which reverts to equilibrium state by the start of nucleation. The nucleation, which means few particles or molecules come together to form nuclei, that is microscopic cluster of atoms or ion of solid phase. Nucleation may be induced by introducing a seed crystal or and dust particle or the scratches on the vessels. In the sides of the vessel we can scratch it. That is, it introduces the formation of the crystal. Then we are doing the crystal growth. The nuclei then grow by addition of other precipitate particles and form a certain shape particles. So this is the process we have to do in the precipitation part. And then we have to, after the precipitation we have to digest the precipitate and filter the precipitate. After the filtration, the precipitate should be washed. After washing, drying the precipitate. Then from after drying the precipitate, we have to weighing the precipitate. From the weight of the precipitate, we could calculate the particular ion present in the solution. So now we know what are the conditions, what are the steps involved in the precipitation gravimetric analysis. We saw how we are preparing the solution and the precipitation part. So after the formation of the precipitate, that precipitate should be filtered. During the filtration, we should follow these things. They are this operation, the filtration means the operation separates precipitate from the mother liquor. The main objective of the filtration is to obtain the precipitate free from the solution. Filtration is carried out using filter papers. For example, it may be the ordinary filter paper, or Whatman filter paper, and sintered glass crucibles. And then when filter papers are used, they must have a very small ash content. This is achieved during manufacture process. The ash value of 11 centimeter circular Whatman filter paper is nearly 0.0001 gram. These filter papers are made up of various degree of porosity. 3 structures of filter papers are generally made for fine particles, second for average precipitate of medium sized particles, and third one is gelatinous and coarse particles. And the precipitate collected on filter paper is further dried and ignited to a constant weight. When the precipitate formed is stable, filtration is carried out by counterpoise method or by using sintered glass crucible G3 or a G4 crucible. After filtration, crucible with the precipitate is dried to a constant weighing in electric oven. So we know what is filtration. Then after the filtration, we should wash it. Washing of the precipitate is done. The most precipitates obtained are contaminated in the presence of one or more soluble components, as these are not volatile at the temperature at which the precipitate is dried. So it is necessary to wash the precipitate. So some of the characteristics of ideal washing solutions are: during washing, it should have no action on the precipitate but dissolve foreign substances only. If there are the presence of other substance, if you are going to estimate nickel or the aluminum means, so we need to avoid the other ions present in the solution, so that it should avoid the washing of the precipitate, so avoiding that is the dissolving of the foreign substance in the precipitate. It should form no volatile or insoluble product with the precipitate, and it should be easily volatile at the temperature of drying of the precipitate. It should contain no substance which will interfere with the subsequent determination in the filtrate. Generally, pure water is not used for washing unless it is certain that it will not dissolve precipitate or does not undergo peptidization. So we know, we have discussed about what is peptidization and all. And then if the precipitate is soluble in water, a common ion is usually added to wash the solution to replace vast ions. What is calcium oxalate? Already we saw that the calcium oxalate is washed with dilute ammonium oxalate solution. That is, for example, if calcium oxalate is washed with dilute ammonium oxalate solution. If you want to wash the calcium oxalate, if you are in the estimation of calcium, here the calcium forms calcium is estimated as calcium oxalate. Here the calcium oxalate precipitate is washed with ammonium oxalate solution, so that it avoids the dilution of the precipitate is going to estimate. And then the wash solution is mostly employed in hot due to greater solubility of foreign substances and increased speed of filtration. Besides choice of suitable wash liquid, the mode of washing is also important. The precipitate is washed using a jet of washing liquid thoroughly on the filter paper. Subsequently, the edges of filter paper should be washed. A larger number of small washing using small volume of wash solution is better and more efficient to remove impurities than a small number of large washings using large volume of wash solution. Here the mathematical expression can be used as the washing of the precipitate as given here. So during the washing of the precipitate, the above, so we have given an expression. So it follows that there you should be minimum and allow the liquid to drain as far as possible. Use a relatively small volume of liquid and increase the number of washings. Hence, more number of washings with small volumes of wash solution is appropriate. So after the washing of the precipitate, we should dry the precipitate. After the precipitation, filtration and washing, the precipitate is either dried or it is dried and subsequently ignited to give a compound of unknown composition. The term drying is used when the temperature is about 500 Kelvin. The term ignition is used when the temperature ranges between 500 Kelvin and 1500 Kelvin. In most of the cases, precipitate is free of contaminants except water. Hence, it can be dried in an oven at low temperature for about 373 Kelvin, that is 100 degrees Celsius, to 425 Kelvin. The precipitate of silver chloride is dried at about 393 Kelvin when water and the antipeptization electrolyte are totally removed. Such a situation is observed only for a few precipitates in case of organic precipitants. In most cases, precipitate is ignited at elevated temperature to a constant known composition due to following reasons. To convert precipitate to some other form having a constant known compositions, to volatilize the antipeptization agent at higher temperature as it cannot be volatilized at 373 Kelvin to 425 Kelvin. To remove strongly absorbing or occluded water which is found. So we know what is occlusion, inclusion, and all. They are the occluded water which is found in gelatinous precipitate and hydrated oxides of aluminium, iron, and silica as removed. Therefore, the ignition of precipitate is carried out to convert it into new compound of a definite known composition, so that the drying of the precipitate is necessary to know the temperature range at which such a form is produced, except the temperature range is carried out by use of thermobalance. If you are using the thermobalance helps to weigh precipitate accurately as it passes through various stages of decomposition. Therefore, the thermobalance is very sensitive to zero point 0.2 milligram and temperature between 274 Kelvin to 1374 Kelvin. The here shown in the figure, it shows the graphical representations. The plot of precipitate weight against temperature is known as pyrolysis curve or thermogrametric curve. The TG curve shows that the final weight form depends on ignition temperature. The thermogrametric curve for calcium oxalate monohydrate when heated pass through at different temperatures from calcium oxalate to calcium, so conversion of calcium carbonate and into the calcium oxide. During ignition temperature, during ignition, precipitates are ignited in porcelain or silica crucible with filter paper or apart from filter paper. During the drying and ignition of the precipitate, if the precipitate is present in the filter paper, what we have to do? So it is mainly happening by using in the silica crucible. We are doing this precipitation and we are igniting this precipitate, this type of precipitate. When the precipitate is stick with the filter paper, we are that precipitate is ignited in the silica crucible. A silica crucible ignited cooled to a constant weight. Here, filter paper with the precipitate is folded carefully to enclose precipitate laced in the crucible supported on pipe clay triangle. It is ignited first on low flame to carbonize paper slowly, that is filter paper. Filter paper should be carbonized completely. When filter paper is completely carbonized and there are no vapors, the crucible is heated on a strong flame to a constant weight. If the filter precipitate stick with that, we have to do like that. And if the filter paper apart from the precipitate, so for that what we have to do is that the method is employed when precipitates are reduced by burning of filter paper, for example barium sulfate, lead sulfate, and copper oxide, etc. In this filter paper, along with residue is dried. The residue is then removed on glassed paper or covered, and the filter paper is then ignited as before. So how we have ignited in the silica crucible. Crucible is cool. The precipitate is finally transferred into crucible and is heated to a constant weighing. Then organic reagents in gravimetric analysis. If you are using organic reagents in gravimetric analysis, so it has more advantages over inorganic precipitants. There are some of the advantages of organic precipitants using in gravimetric analysis over inorganic precipitants are: the precipitate formed are called organometallic compounds, have high molecular weight. If it is high molecular weight means, so if the molecular weight is high means the weight of the precipitate will be higher, so that the particle size will be increasing. If the particle size is increasing, the increasing of the particle size increases the accuracy of the estimation. Thus, a small amount of metal ions yield a large amount of precipitate, hence the percentage error is reduced. The second one, by maintaining proper pH, one metal ion can be precipitated in presence of other ion without interference. The third one, the precipitate can be dried at a suitable temperature and weight. It is lead tedious, then ignition and weighing carried out for inorganic precipitation. So that then the organometallic precipitates are less soluble than inorganic precipitates. Thus, accuracy of results is more, and then the particle size is better than inorganic precipitate. Hence, it is better suited for filtration and washing of the precipitates. Already in the previous classes, we have discussed about some of the organic precipitate examples for organic precipitants. Here, mentioning DMG, dimethyl glyoxane, and oxane, 8-hydroxyquinoline, and Couferon, alpha benzoin oxime, and salicylaldehyde oxime. So these are all some of the examples of organic precipitants. Therefore, if you are using organic precipitant instead of inorganic precipitant, so it gives more accurate weight of the ion or the precipitate is going to be estimated. Some of the applications of gravimetric analysis we will discuss now. Determination of sulfur in organic compounds. Sulfur containing organic compound is mixed with excess of sodium peroxide, and the mixture is heated in nickel crucible till it fuses. This oxidizes organic sulfur to sulfate. Therefore, the resultant mass is extracted with deionized water, heated and treated with excess of barium chloride solution to precipitate barium as barium sulfate. Already we discussed in earlier classes. The precipitate is filtered, washed and dried. After the drying, ignition of the precipitate is done and barium sulfate is weighed. So by using this process we can estimate the sulfur in organic compounds, and then estimation of nickel in copper and nickel alloy using DMG. An alloy of copper and nickel is opened with a suitable acid or mixture of acids by evaporation. The solution near to dryness and extract with water. Add 2 ml of concentration HCl and heat the solution. Pass hydrogen sulfide gas to the precipitate all copper as copper sulfide. So when we pass H2S gas, so copper present in the alloy will be precipitated and that precipitate will be removed. The filter the solution to remove this precipitate. Add 1:1 ammonia to raise the pH of the solution to neutralize. After that, nickel in the solution is precipitated by adding alcoholic solution of dimethyl glyoxane. After that, add 1:1 ammonia till the smell of ammonia persists. So that it confirms that all the nickel present in the solution get precipitated. The precipitate of nickel DMG is filtered through silica crucible, washed with cold water, dried it at this 383 Kelvin to 393 Kelvin. And the another application, estimation of aluminum as its oxide. Aluminum is precipitated as hydrated aluminum oxide by means of ammonia in presence of ammonium chloride. The gelatinous precipitate is washed, dried and converted into its oxide by ignition and weighed as aluminum oxide. Aluminum oxide is atmospheric in nature, so the equations are given here. The precipitation starts at approximately around the pH 4 and is complete when pH is in between 6.5 to 7.5. The precipitate cannot be washed with hot water as aluminum hydroxide is readily peptized. Hence, 2% solution of ammonium chloride or ammonium nitrate used for washing the precipitate during the estimation of aluminum as aluminum oxide. So far we have discussed what are the steps involving in the gravimetric analysis, and we have explained the steps in the gravimetric analysis, and then we saw some of the applications of gravimetric analysis using organic precipitant, and then we shall discuss some of the applications given in the syllabus. They are the detection of potassium ion and the separation of copper and cadmium ions, how we are going to separate grammatically, and then estimation of nickel using dimethyl glyoxine, and how we are going to estimate. So what is the principles or involving in the estimation of nickel as nickel DMG, and um, aluminum as aluminum oxenate. These are the four applications we are going to discuss in the next class. Thank you.